When Hellblade came out, it was a really strange time for me because on one hand I was trying to celebrate how well the game was received, but on the other hand I was just left with a feeling of emptiness because the project was so intense, and then when it stopped I just didn't know what to do with myself and I had no idea what comes next.
What kind of projects are you going to be working on next? Do you think you'll pursue more of a sort of performance and voice career, or are you going to carry on with video editing?
So at this point I still didn't know that there was going to be a sequel to Hellblade, so I took some time away from work just to think about what I want to do. Luckily, only a few months later, Ninja Theory came to my rescue and offered me the role as Senua once again in the sequel to Hellblade called Senua Saga, and that made my decision a whole lot easier. Yep. This time round we wanted the game to be even more realistic than the last one, so the director Tamim Antoniadis and I were discussing that maybe I should learn to do all of my own stunts and learn how to sword fight and be like a proper warrior. The theory behind it was that
whatever you can do, we'll put it in the game. If you can't do it, we won't put it in.
I can do somersault. What? It all sounded fun in games, but to be honest, I had no idea where to start. Like, how does one become a warrior? What kind of training do I need? Am I still allowed to eat pizza?
That's not on, Mel.
There was a lot of questions that needed answering. For a starter, we did some research on sword fighting and different courses, and then we stumbled across this Screen Combat Academy near London, and it sounded really good, so we contacted them and straight away booked me into one of their courses. And I was in for a shock, because I got there and I was surrounded by super flexible, kick-ass warriors who were ready to become stunt performers. And then there was me, like, no idea what the heck's going on. Can't even touch my toes. Unless it's like this, like I can touch them like this. So during this course I learned lots of different fighting styles and different weapon systems, and at the end of it we also had an assessment. But during this course I also realized that I wasn't fit enough. Like, if I wanted to do all of my own stunts, then I really had to get into shape. Unfortunately, this isn't very straightforward for me. I suffer from a chronic pain condition called fibromyalgia, which basically means that my joints and bones and things like that are always in pain, and I have a lot of fatigue. And also when I'm training I need quite a lot of time to recover after every session. So I had to start working on getting fitter, but at my own pace and without pushing my body over its limits. With the help of my partner I started to exercise daily to slowly build up my strength. As he's a professional fighter, I also asked him if he could teach me some MMA and self-defense moves, not just to get fit, but also because I thought that once we start to explore a fighting style for Senua, maybe we could connect some of these moves with Senua's weapons. In the meantime, we also started shooting some sword fighting motion capture, but it became clear very quickly that fighting Bob had its limitations, and I really needed some proper opponents who actually fight back. So I started showing some of our animators at the office some of the skills that I had learned in that combat course, and that actually gave Tamim, our director, a great idea, which was to send all of our animators to the same course so that they could then be stand-in enemy characters for Senua. While I was waiting for all of the animators to complete the combat courses, I really needed to find someone who could push my sword fighting skills much further. So Dom went back online and started doing some research, and he came across the award-winning sword master and stunt choreographer called C.C. Smith. He's known for his work on Star Wars and Game of Thrones. We invited him over to the office to have a chat with him, and I was really excited to meet him, but at the same time I was super nervous because I knew that once we start our one-on-one training it would mean the beginning of a really long and difficult journey.
It's nice to meet you.
Together with the team we discussed with CC what we are hoping to achieve.
It's making it less about it being a game actually, and more about it feeling as natural as possible. Yeah, that's going to be the big challenge.
Basically what we're filming is what's going in the game.
Wow.
So it's going to be quite a different process for us as well.
Once everyone was on the same page, CC and I were ready to start our training. During our first session, he showed me a bunch of moves because he wanted to find out which movements come naturally to me and which ones we should maybe better try to avoid, which were probably most of them.
Go block. Yeah. Cut for me. 1, 2, head. Now I'm going. I've still got my eyes looking at me. Where's he going? Where's he going? Now I'm trying to get my head round quickly to go, no. Yeah?
But after some practice, I slowly started to get the hang of it.
Good, cross over. In at the end. Roll it. Good, good naturally. That's all. Yeah. Lift and slice. Oh, blade up in front, yeah. Squeeze it. Cut. Yeah. Then we can always step forward. Oh no. Yeah, we did that now. Good. Then we can step forward. 1, 2. Boom, 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 shoot, shoot. Yeah. There. Rotation. Hop and hop. Yes. You don't have to change the angle, do you? It's easy. Just go there. Yes. Good. Feet underneath that. Go. Go.
As Cece lives quite far away from me, we only really managed to meet up like every couple of weeks, so the rest of the time I was focusing on the homework he gave me, or I was fighting our animators at the office who had just completed their combat courses.
That's what it takes. Phase 2. That's phase 2.
Now that the animators had learned all of the basics, we were ready to start training together.
And action. Okay, and cut.
But more on that in another episode.